how do you fare, my loyal 9 Patriots? All right, so this is going to be an interesting show today. We're going to be interviewing someone who essentially escaped communism. But before we get started on the show, just a quick little admin notes here. So there's the Commie Hunter animal right there. That's the... his name is Commie Hunter. We'll just leave it at that. I know a lot of you guys were interested about the show that I did on Tuesday with Redonkulous. Interesting show. I'll leave it at that. So other than that, I hope you guys are having a great Thursday. Friday, Red Dawn Radio and I are going to be doing the tag team stream. And we're going to be covering Chapter 3 of Unrestricted Warfare. So I hope to see you guys there. Other than that, Miss Relevant Elevant, are you on the line?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic.
That's
Thank you
awesome.
so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just get this kicked off here. Why don't you start with like the beginning of your story and just kind of give us like a little rundown, and then I'll just ask you questions as we go.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so I just to let you guys know, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch the chat the whole time, but I will try to watch it as much as I can. But yeah, basically I was born in Russia. My mother is Russian, my dad is from Venezuela, and they met in college in Romania. So I lived in Russia until I was 6, and my parents moved back to Venezuela after I was 1 year old, and I couldn't even go with them. I had to stay with my grandparents because communism. So after 5 years of making deals, I was able to go home with my parents in Venezuela, and then I grew up there like all my teenage years. And that's around when the whole Chavez revolution started. And my parents just like knew that they had to get me out of there. Like they could see what was coming. So they sent me to college in the United States. And after my first year in college, that's when Chavez took over. And basically Venezuela became a communist country.
So you
And I
you
was
lived in
out
Venezuela when the whole Chavez takeover was happening?
at the beginning of it, I did,
Yeah. Well, can you talk
but I
about that?
left yeah, like I actually remember like my dad, he had a magazine. He was a chemical engineer originally, but then he decided to be an entrepreneur and he started a couple of different magazines. And basically, I was actually, my dad and I were on the ground when the first couple of the first coups that happened, where Chavez's people was trying to overthrow the government. And I remember being like 16 years old, and my dad is like, let's go film this shit.
Wow.
And we were at this like cool riot type thing, and there's like tear gas thrown and everything. And when we got home, my mom was like, she told my dad, like, you are such an idiot. Why do you take a young girl into this?
He's giving you
But he
a
just wanted
nice
to get it.
early red pill on what communist revolution looks like.
Yes.
Oh,
And you
wow.
know, the funny thing is, like, my dad was, when he was young, he was in the Communist Party. This is why he went to college in Romania. They sent him. And that's how he was able to meet my mom, who was Russian.
Oh, okay. So your
But
dad's Venezuelan and your mom is Russian?
mhm.
Okay, got it.
So what happened, like I think their story is very meaningful to my story, is so they were in the university in Bucharest and they started dating, but the Russian girls were not supposed to talk to anyone that was, from another country, especially from a country like Venezuela that wasn't communist at the time. So when
Hmm.
they got found out, my mom just got like basically straight up kicked out of the university.
Really?
They were just like, oh, you betrayed your country, you're done. You're going back to your country and you can never see this guy again.
Wow.
So my dad started a little riot. There's actually, they still have the newspaper clippings about it. He was like, how dare you separate me from the woman I love? He started a little, student protest. Of course, it didn't go nowhere. So then he took a trip on a train from Bucharest to Moscow to go find my mom. Well, who wasn't my mom yet because I wasn't born yet. Yeah, he didn't even have like a ticket for the train or nothing. He was just like, I'm gonna go get my girl.
Wow.
And he just like showed up at her parents' house and started screaming, I love you, come out. So my mom's parents were like, oh, this guy he's here. He made it here. No fucking way. So, well, they took him in, they got married. I was born a year later, and then we were all gonna go back to Venezuela to live, like in my dad's country because it was freer at the time. But the Russian government was like, nope, the kids gotta stay. Because my grandfather, my mom's dad, was a colonel in the Russian army.
Oh wow! So you got some deep ties. Wow.
Yes. So basically, the Russian government said, okay, well, from my grandfather, they were like, look, you can either. They already said they weren't going to let me go. So they said, you can either retire early as a colonel, you won't make general, or you can just like never talk to your daughter or her family again. And then the question there was like, what was going to happen to me? Because they weren't letting me go. And my grandparents were the only people I could stay with. So my grandpa, of course, said, send it, I'll retire.
Wow. And that's when you guys moved to Venezuela and...
Well, so basically I stayed with my grandparents until I was 6, and that's when they finally let me go my grandma took me to Venezuela.
So the communist government wouldn't let you leave Russia to go live with your parents.
Exactly. Yeah, they wouldn't. Because at the time, this was like in the late 70s. Basically, it was still very, very communist.
Mm-hmm.
A child born in Russia belongs to Russia before anything else. So there was a lot of loopholes to jump through, and finally, after 6 years, they were like, okay, well, her parents are over there, she can go.
It's interesting because the communist government is getting into the affairs of the family, and we're starting to see a lot of that now, actually. Like there's kids because the one parent hasn't been given a mystery potion, is now losing custody of kids. I find that interesting how the state is interjecting like that, and it's not like this has never happened before.
Time.
Yeah. So it's crazy that you know about this firsthand.
Yeah, like I live this, and like what makes me, sometimes really upset is that I try to tell like young Americans, like people that are, Zoomers or even like some younger millennials, and they're like, oh, but how can you, like, they're all like, oh, Russia is so great, I love Russian culture. And I'm like, yeah, some of parts of Russian culture is great, but communism is not, dude. Like, they're like, oh, but why? Like, they don't understand that, they separated families.
Mm-hmm.
They did terrible things to people.
Yeah, that's the communist ideology.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you end up coming to the U.S.? Is it, you said you're a student?
Okay, so I was. So I was in Venezuela, and I grew up there. I was there until I was, I think I was 20 or 21. Don't remember like the exact details. But that's when the whole Chavez uprising started. And, by the time, my dad like got out of the whole communism thing right after the whole thing happened with me being a baby and not being able to go with them. He was like, fuck that. But he started a business. And then, when I finally came, when the Chavez thing started, he was like, we got to at least get her out of here because it's just about to get crazy here. So, and I wanted to go to college in the United States anyways. So originally I came to an art school in Florida, and then I ended up going to a different college. But like the first year after I was in college, that's when Chavez took over the entire country.
Okay. And you were like around 17, 18, 19 years old when that was happening?
Yeah, I was about 19, 20. And then, so I just finished like my first year in college in the US. And then basically I got a call from my parents saying like, look, shit just went down here. Like it was pretty horrible. The economy crashed, everything went down, and at the time, my parents were paying for my school. I wasn't able to work in the U.S. because I was an international student.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom told me like, look, you can come back now. We can't pay for your school anymore. We're like losing everything because they had a business and the economy was just like plunging.
What was his
And
business?
my parents, so they had a small publishing company.
Okay. Like
Like,
newspaper or
I
like
told you, well, like I told you before, my dad was originally he was a chemical engineer. So he started like a trade publication for the chemical industry. And then that grew into a couple of more publications. And then there was like a weekly like news magazine. This is like I'm aging myself. This was back when like people read magazines.
mm-hmm.
So he started a publication that was like a weekly publication, and it was doing pretty well. Like when I left, they were doing quite well. They had about 20 employees, and it was a thriving company. It was a thriving business. They made money off advertisement in the
Yeah.
magazines.
So
And
communism
then, like,
destroyed the business.
in less than a year, like, everything just kind of went to shit.
That's and it's
So,
it's crazy because people don't see the translation now into our current predicament that we're in. Unbelievable. That's
they
why
really
you're on
don't.
here tonight, because you're gonna really bring some heat
Yeah,
on this stuff.
yeah, because I wanted to tell this story. Like, I lived this in it's funny. I always joke with my mom when, I eventually brought my parents to the US and they have been here for a while now. And I jokingly told my mom, like, Mom, don't bring that shit over here because apparently it follows you.
the
And
modern day
I was
Californian.
joking. Yeah, right. And
That's
then it happened. And like the first time I said that to her was when they first, were able to come here because I got their green cards for them. And I told her that as a joke. And at that time, that was a few years ago, I never imagined that we would actually be like in fear of communism taking over America.
yeah. I think a lot
It
of
was
people
just a
feel that
little,
way. I think there's still people now that still think that if you say this is a communist takeover, they still think you're stupid, or they think that you're just being an alarmist, and you can show them fact after
yeah.
fact, example after example, and they still look at you with that stupid deer in the headlight look. You know what I
But
mean?
there's so many people like me, immigrants that came here the legal way. Like there is a girl from Korea, from North Korea, and I think her name is Naomi Parks or something like that. I'm not sure. Have you heard of her? Like
It,
she escaped from North Korea,
yeah,
and she's been telling her story, and it's like she gets labeled as a, conspiracy theorist, right winger, and it's like, come on, why don't you listen to the voice from the place where the bad things happen?
mm-hmm. Well, you
Like,
see
why would she be
this.
saying,
You see this a lot too with people like you. You see it with people who escaped communist North Korea, and then you also see it a lot with Cubans. Like, I don't know if you remember, but you ever see the thing where the Democrats don't want Cuban refugees coming into the United States?
no, wait, what is that about?
Yeah, so I guess there was like some legislation where they're trying to get like more. They're trying to replace Americans with people that don't have the willingness to understand communism, at least, where they'll take anyone from like Mexico, Brazil, Venezuela, and stuff like that, but they won't take Cubans. It's very interesting.
That's very interesting too,
Yeah.
because like I think I was just listening to somebody else earlier today that was saying like the Cubans that come here, they know what communism is like, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't bring that here. Like they come here, they're grateful, they start businesses. Most of them are in South Florida, and they basically built South Florida.
Yeah. I mean,
And yeah,
they're all
not all of
conservative.
them. Yeah, fuck yeah, because they know they don't want. And do you remember like a few months ago there was some protests in Cuba?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember when that happened?
Oh
And then
yeah.
like the mainstream media tried saying like, oh, they're protesting because of the embargo that we have against them, which is cruel, and they're also protesting because they're not getting any COVID vaccines. And I was like, yeah, wait, no, they're protesting communism.
Mm-hmm.
They want their dictator gone. Like that got silenced. That just got memory hold really fast.
Yeah, it's I think they had like American flags rolling around there, and they were chanting freedom, and I mean,
Yep.
it's like I always tell people, like every country on this planet, like America is the last bell of liberty that's ringing right now, and sometimes people hear it from afar and they want it, but now that bell's being silenced. Sorry, go ahead.
It's being silenced, and that's why I wanted to come over here. Like that's why my parents were like, basically, like go over there. You'll be safer over there, even if you have to like fend for yourself, then stay in here. Like my mom literally told me that at one point. She was like, look, I know you're scared. I know you haven't been on your own for that long, but do whatever you have to do to survive.
Yeah.
Like go work at a bar, which I did, like I was this like kind of posh, spoiled little college girl, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go work at a bar. I'm gonna go wait tables and wait it out.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go back there, and especially if my mom told me don't come back here because it will be worse.
Well, so I have a question actually from the audience. It's from Red Dawn Radio, and he says, "Ask her."
Red Dawn Radio.
He says, "Ask her at what point did she know? Oh shit, communism is in America now."
That's a great question. I think I was in denial for a long time. I've seen it. I started teaching at a college a couple of years ago, and I think that's when I first started seeing it. And that was like right, I think, between when I started teaching at the college and when the COVID started. That's when I was like, oh shit, it's happening.
I think that was like a lot of people.
2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was in denial. I was like, I have always been like, America, patriotism. I love this country. I'm so grateful to this country. I actually spent 7 years serving in the military because I was grateful to this country. And then when I started hearing this rhetoric of like, oh, America sucks, it's like, wait, what? What is happening?
So did you see Marxism in the military? Did you see like communism and Marxism in there?
Well, I got out of the active duty in 2013. Then I did a couple of years of being in the reserves. But yes, I started seeing it there. And I actually have a pretty funny story about that. I think this would be a good moment for it.
Send it.
So I get to my first duty station, right? After doing, my basic training in airborne school. Get to my first duty station, and since I had already been in college, they made me a specialist. Like I don't know if you know about military ranks, but
a little bit, yeah.
So I went enlisted, so I didn't have to be a private at any point. I went straight to specialist, which is like E4. So I get there, and they're like, okay, well, you're gonna be the squad leader because your squad leader right now is getting his sex transition surgery.
What?
And I was like, wait, what did he say to me?
Wait, what year was this?
2013.
So 2013, you had someone on active duty getting a
sex reassignment.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I was like, wait, what is going on? Like, am I delusional? Like, I had to ask the guy a couple of times, like the company commander, like, what did you say to me? Wait, I just got here. I have no experience. I'm fresh out of basic training. I got it. I can probably be a squad leader, but what is my former squad leader doing? Yeah, he's getting sex reassignment surgery, so he is, convalescent for a while.
Wow.
Like,
so,
oh, fuck.
So you started seeing that in 2013, and that was when, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was when the rhetoric of women are now allowed to do combat jobs, like infantry and Ranger Battalion and all that stuff. That's about in the same time frame, isn't it?
That's started, yeah. But then there was something else that happened. we had sometimes people in the military company get assigned to do like tasks, and we like my whole company got assigned to go basically do cleaning party at this guy's house, the one that was getting his reassignment surgery,
Mm-hmm.
because he had like a family, and apparently his house was so filthy that when the military, usually people that live in housing, military housing, they get health and welfare inspections. So when they did his house, they were like, "Oh my God, this is too filthy." So they sent all of us to clean his house. And that's when the cognitive dissonance started kicking in for me. I was like, wait, what is going on? The army is paying for this guy to cut his dick off,
Oh, wow.
but we gotta go clean his house? Like, what? So at
That's
that point, I
a
was like,
that's a little weird. That I
it
don't,
is
I don't is
very
that even
weird.
legal? Is that a lawful order to do? I don't think that
What,
is.
what to like have the soldiers go do
Clean someone's
a cleaning like
house?
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, in these extreme situations, yeah, like it can happen.
Wow. That's nuts.
Because it was, because it was affecting the I guess they call it like the cohesion of the whole company. Like his family wasn't doing well, so we had to go help out. But that
Hmm.
wasn't the worst of it. Like to me, it was like, wait, why am I just got here and I have to do the job of a guy that is getting dick cut off.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it was pretty insane. So that was like my start in the army.
Okay. It doesn't sound like a great start.
No, no, no. And then I mean, I will say I had some of the best times and I met some of the greatest people in the service, and we did some great things together. Like my company worked, like when the tragedy happened in Haiti, we were the ones that provided them with we packaged all of the supplies that went over there.
Okay.
So we did a lot of great things, but there was also a lot of weird things.
Hmm. What other
So yes,
weird
like
things did
going
you
with,
see? Like more Marxism,
well, like
communism, or
more more like I didn't see that much communism still in the army, but I started to see the beginnings of like wokeness
mm-hmm.
infiltrating, like people saying like, "Oh, somebody was mean to me," like I'm offended about this. So
Somebody.
that was like, wait, this is the army. Like we don't care about your feelings. But no, there was definitely a lot of people filing a lot of paperwork because their feelings were hurt
Wow.
and getting away with it.
That's and I can only imagine now that the military is just even worse. I mean, you probably
Oh,
just got
it's so
a
much worse.
taste. You want to talk about that more? About your husband at all or anything?
Yeah, like I don't want to dox him at all, because
Yeah,
he's
yeah, no,
still in.
don't dox him. Just we'll say Mr. X.
But Mr. Relevant.
Yeah, Mr. Relevant.
But he was like, "Don't dox me, bitch." Well, he
Don't
didn't
dox
call
the
me a bitch.
broad.
I added
Yeah.
that. Yes. No, but he did say like he's going through his job right now is basically, let me see how I can say this in a way I don't dox him. He's basically in charge of taking care of people that get into some kind of trouble, that get victimized in a way,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
Um, he has been doing this job for about a year, and 70% of the cases that he encounters are false flags, people trying
Mm,
to abuse the system.
okay. Interesting.
You know what I mean? You follow?
I follow.
Yeah. So like the army has put a great system in place to take care of people that get victimized in any particular way. But what in the army we call shitbags or abusing the system,
Shit bags.
you know, shitbags, fucking shammers,
Yeah.
they abuse the system to get away with whatever they want. And even before that, like at one point, my husband was an instructor in a, I'm not gonna say which, but in a very elite school in the army.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
a few times, no, well, yeah, a few times, a couple of times actually, he got accused of, failing students because of their race. But
Okay.
he was like, dude, okay, so I had 30 blue students in my class, right? And only you were the only blue student that did not meet the standards.
So they're trying to use
How
identity
can you?
politics to circumvent a standard.
They're failures, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
It never like actually worked, but the paperwork and the man hours that go into fighting that is crazy.
I can only imagine just the headache that causes, just the accusation, especially in modern times, how if you just even say anything remotely racist, and it couldn't even be racist. It could just be like, oh, black people. Oh, you're not calling them African Americans? Well, no, they're black people. They want to be called black people.
That's why I said blue. I don't even know what you're supposed to call people anymore because like apparently now saying black is bad. So now it's like people of color, POC. I can't keep up.
Yeah, it's just I think they call it hyphenated acronyms or something. I can't remember, but I think my opinion is the whole reason why the term African American, Latino American, whatever, they put
Latinx.
Latinx. They put African before American. So you're an African first and you're an American second. That's my whole thought on that. They're trying to destroy when we're all Americans. That's what America is, but they're trying to separate that.
I never liked the term African American, honestly, because to me it's like, well, so then like if they're African Americans, are we like European Americans?
Yeah, exactly.
In my case, I'm like a European and South American. Like why? Like we're all Americans.
Mm-hmm. Do you know like what year that was when your husband was getting tuned up? That's from Tiffany Brown.
Oh, hey Tiffany, that was just a couple of years ago before he started this new job.
So still very recent.
Oh yeah, like, and he would come. That was also like a job that was like so like he worked such long hours because it's training students, and he would come home and he would just be like tired from the physical work, and then he'll be like, oh fuck, now I have this guy that's trying to accuse me of being racist because I failed him because he didn't properly do the training. And in this type of particular school, if somebody doesn't like meet the standards, they can't go forward because they could die.
Yeah, it's a safety. It's a safety standard.
Safety thing. Yeah. Like, if you don't meet, like if you can't do what the standards require you to do, they can't let you go forward because chances are you will kill yourself.
Yeah. No,
the army doesn't want you to die.
Totally get that. Totally get that. I have a question from Adam Gottlieb. He says, what are your biggest fears and greatest hopes for the future of the world?
Oh my God, that's an amazing question, Adam. My biggest fear is that we are going to have to choose between a Muslim takeover and a Chinese takeover.
Yeah.
Like that's my biggest fear, that like right now, America under Biden is, people see us as weak. So if the Muslims take over, all of us women are fucked.
Yeah.
And well, I honestly, like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I think the Muslim religion is fucked up, and yeah, they would make our lives horrible. But if China takes over, they're communists. That's not great either.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been my biggest fear for a while. It's like, oh, which one of these would I choose?
Yeah.
And my biggest hope is that people like us here in this chat, and all the people that are waking up, that we are strong enough, that we wake up more people, and that we defeat this, and that we just say like, no, we're not taking it. Let's take America back.
Yeah.
That's my greatest hope.
Okay, I'm pretty much right there with you. I think we're I was talking to Red Dawn Radio the other day, and he was trying to help me because I'm trying to come up with like a better elevator pitch, when people ask me stuff. But like one thing that he really said that stuck with me is we're on the final stretch where the communist takeover is wrapping itself up. And
it's like intensifying.
Yeah, it's intensifying now. That's why they've just amped this rhetoric up.
Accelerating. I think accelerating is the word.
Yeah, accelerating for sure. For sure. I mean, that's, if you just think about it, imagine right now you're talking to someone and you say, "Hey, let's go back in time by 3 years." If I told you you had to receive a mystery potion, it was mandated, you had to wear a face blanket, and you were going to be locked into your house, and you're going to have to do all these restrictions, would you believe me? Most people would say no. Nope. Not
and
at
even
all.
Biden said that.
Yeah.
Even Biden, when this started, he said, somebody asked him, like, are you going to mandate vaccines? And he said, no, I would never do that. And then like 6 months later, he tried to mandate vaccines. So
yeah.
Definitely acceleration.
Yeah. So there's a guy actually on Twitch, and he says, who does America need to be taken back from? So I'm going to answer this one, then I'll let you tag team me out on this one. America has been subverted by communists. And I know a lot of people don't realize it. They don't see it. And the rhetoric that's been coming out now, and that has been happening since 1933, if we want to get really down into the weeds, the communist takeover started in 1933 when FDR allowed the Soviet Union to be recognized as a country. We signed a pact and we said, "Hey, we won't put spies in your government. You won't put spies in our government." Before the ink was even dry on that pact, that treaty, the communists put spies in our government. And if you want, he wants an example, so I'll give you an example. The nuclear secrets for America was given to Russia by a communist spy that was considered the co-president of the United States. And if we get into the more modern times, mandating someone's bloodstream is a communist tactic. Mandating things and stripping people's freedoms away, that is a communist tactic. So if you want more examples, go to my YouTube channel, my Odysee channel, and look at the deep dives. What do you have to say for that?
Well, look at what's happening in the schools, in public education. I can give you a fresh example. I'm actually going to have a meeting with my kid's history teacher on Tuesday. They just started a new semester, right? So my daughter comes home from school, and she had history today. I asked her, "What did you learn?" And she's like, "I learned about Egypt." "What did you learn?" So the first thing she says is like, "Well, I learned there was a lot of bad things in Egypt, like murder, child abuse, bullying, homicide, meanness." And I was like, "Wait, what? You didn't learn about the pyramids or any of that?" No. So her fucking communist history teacher, he approaches world history as like teaching, look at all these bad things. That's what is referred to as the long march through the institutions.
Yeah, where they start altering history. They start changing things.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
yes,
it's like critical race theory. People don't understand critical race theory was the whole idea of critical theory came from the Frankfurt School. The Frankfurt School,
yes,
they are all about criticizing every single piece of history and getting people to turn against their own country. And the whole idea of critical race theory, that came from them. And they were all Jewish communists. They escaped Nazi Germany.
They are the ones that started what is called the Long March to the institutions, which is basically the takeover of our educational universities and schools to indoctrinate younger children, which are malleable, and not just younger children, but also college students, to indoctrinate them with this communist ideology.
Yeah, for sure.
And what makes me kind of like mad at myself is like, I was so busy like living my life for a while that I didn't know this was going on. I think this is like true for almost all of us. Like in 2020, it became very evident. So we were like, okay, we need to like our ears need to perk up and we need to figure out what to do because this is crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, they have definitely infiltrated all our important institutions. And like, I will tell anybody, if you can homeschool your children, please do, because public schools, the communists are there.
Yeah, they're
Like all
there.
the children, all the teachers, the way they were taught to teach is this communist ideology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I
People don't
actually,
get it. Like, the communists march through the institutions. They think faggots like on Twitch that are listening to this right now, they don't understand anything about that. They think it's all a conspiracy theory when in reality it's not. The data's there, the proof is there. They're just too stupid to look. And people like that, people that think that what we're talking about is a conspiracy theory, are the same idiots that were, during the Venezuelan takeover by the communists, the Cuban takeover by the communists, during the Russian Revolution. These are the same retards that are going to allow it to happen and have allowed it to happen in the United States. And so it's like, whenever you look for people to blame, those are exactly the people right there to blame, because they're so
useful idiots.
They're just idiots.
They don't realize, like, look, in Venezuela, all the people that were like, yeah, Chavez, let's get him in power. Guess what? They're starving too.
Yeah.
They're having to eat their pets. And I'm not kidding. People over there are like eating their pets and zoo animals because people are literally starving.
Yeah.
I still have a couple of distant family members in Venezuela that have reached out to my brother who is in Salt Lake or somewhere up north, and we talked about it, and they were like, yeah, they're like really starving over there.
Yeah.
Like, and these were people that were like, yeah, Chavez. That's what they don't understand. These ideologists, they don't care about you.
No, they don't. I mean, you look at just look at Castro. Castro came to power, and he seemed like, if you really look at it, he seemed like he was a guy that was for the Cuban population. And then he just hoodwinked them all, and just with the flip of a switch went straight communist and began the second oppression. That they were just like, whoa, what the hell?
Once you're not useful anymore, you will just, be put out.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what makes me like, oh, super mad. Like, these people don't realize all these like SJWs, like all the, like the kids at Evergreen and all these kids at colleges protesting like inequality or whatever. It's like, shut up, bitch. You are going to college.
Yeah.
Probably on a scholarship.
Well, yeah, it's funny
what
too.
What the fuck are you complaining about?
Yeah. And then they'll protest. The college student will protest, capitalism, but they'll be doing it with a communist flag. And it's like, but they also have an iPhone in their pocket, and in their backpack they have a MacBook Pro that costs $2,000. But communism, right?
And they're wearing like $100 jeans, and they're living in their like $1,000 a month dorm, and they're going to Starbucks for
and they got daddy's credit card and everything.
$5 soy latte. Yeah.
Those people they're the worst. They're just the absolute worst. Pastor Shadowley. Go ahead.
Hey, Pastor Shadowley, I love you. He's cool.
Yeah, he has
I watch stuff on Odysee.
Yeah, his live stream is incredible. I love it. He has a question for you. He says, for the guests, do you know how to fly a helicopter? If not, are you willing to learn?
Hey, that's a great question. I don't know how to fly one. I know how to jump out of one. And yes, I'm definitely willing to learn how to fly one.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Absolutely.
I have another question here from Red Dawn Radio, and he says, I have pictures of money littering the streets of Venezuela because it is worthless. Can she talk about that?
Oh, yeah, the Venezuelan, the Bolivar, which is named after, like, Simon Bolivar, the liberator of Venezuela from the conquistadors. That money is not worth shit. It's like, you know how like the Italian money, the lira is like, you need like millions of lira to buy like a fucking piece of bread. That's how the Bolivar became. When I was young, the Bolivar was pretty equivalent to the dollar. I remember like the big exchange rate was like 1 bolivar. What? No, four. Like $1 was worth 4 bolivars,
Wow.
and
Okay.
now it's like it's nothing. It's like their money is, yeah. You can throw millions of bolivars in the street, and that would be like $5.
Yeah, it's nothing. I saw a video of a guy. He went to Venezuela to do like I guess like a vacation, and which okay, but a beautiful country. But he was trying to buy a hot dog, and the cost was so expensive that they've moved to like more of like a digital style currency so they can keep up with inflation because it's just that bad. It blew.
Otherwise, it will be like that thing that happened during the Depression, where you have to bring like a wheelbarrow full of money to buy some bread.
Yeah. What's like
And what?
when the during Weimar Germany, whenever the inflation crisis was happening, bread would cost so much money. People would have to go right when the bank opened in the morning. They would go there with a wheelbarrow, fill the wheelbarrow full of cash, and then maybe they would make it in time to the bread stores or to the bakery to pay just enough for bread because that's how bad inflation was. I think it took like a
So at
month.
least now we have digital currency, so we don't have to get the wheelbarrow, but it's basically the same thing. Like,
Yeah,
have
same
you seen what's
concept.
going on? Like,
Yeah,
I just bought groceries yesterday, and when I saw my bill, I was like, what the hell? I didn't buy anything special.
yeah.
Same things I always buy, and it was like almost twice as normal. And also, I can't find puppy pads. There's like a crisis of puppy pads, you
Yeah, there's
know?
weird things that you can't find. Like I was looking for cream cheese the other day to make stuffed
Oh,
jalapeno
really?
poppers. Yeah, couldn't find cream cheese. I went to 2 different stores and could not find cream cheese. I was like, this is weird. First world problems, but
It's
this is
beginning
weird.
to look a lot,
Yeah.
beginning to look a lot like Russia.
I actually, so you know that video, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like a 2-minute video that I made where it's called It Is Time. And I'm
Yeah,
showing like
yeah,
it.
I've definitely seen that.
Yeah, so you know how there's like empty shelves and stuff? I had some people say, so I promoted that video, which I don't know if it was worth it or not, but I promoted that video and I had some negative comments pop in there, which, I'm all for it, but the dude's like, there's no empty shelves in the United States and blah, blah, blah. And I shit you not, I went to the store that day and I saw empty shelves and I was like,
Empty
oh,
shelves.
yeah. And
Oh,
New
I saw some
Patriots
today.
sent me a video or a picture of empty shelves in her grocery store. And I was like,
Dude, I can
interesting.
send you some more. I've seen them. And like when it first started happening, I live in a smaller town, not like a big city. Like I live in like a mid-sized city, less than 1 million people, I'll say.
Yeah.
And at first it wasn't showing, but definitely in the last 2 months, I've seen a lot of empty shelves.
Yeah.
And
It's,
especially with like specialty products like that, like the cat food aisle is fucking empty,
yeah.
all kinds of stuff. Like it's true, it's happening.
Yeah. It's
And to
crazy.
me, like, especially to me, I hate to use this word. Well, I'm actually going to use it kind of ironically, but it triggers me.
Yeah.
As somebody that grew up, standing in lines with my grandmother to get meat or bread in Russia, uh, I thought I escaped that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And being an American and having to see that again is just like, it's extremely frustrating.
Yeah. It's
Just like,
brutal.
what went wrong?
Yeah. I have a friend of mine. His dad was actually in the Soviet army, and me and him were talking about the same stuff that we're talking about right now. And he's like, dude, it just
Oh, really?
pisses
He
me
was in the
off.
Soviet Army?
Yeah, and he has it's kind of funny because you look at a picture of his dad in the Soviet army and they look identical, and I was like, bro, that's you. But his dad was saying his dad now lives in the United States and like super pro America. He hates commies,
Telling you.
loves Russia but hates commies. So, but he's like, this is exactly what was happening in Russia because they went through the cycles and everything. But yeah,
I kind of like rewatched the Red Dawn movie a few weeks ago,
mm-hmm.
and I was like,
the old
fuck,
one or the new one?
this is the old one, the original. There's a new one? I didn't even know there was a
It's
new
not very good.
one.
Yeah.
It's probably not.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
sad. But
Yeah, their remakes are never usually good.
yeah,
But when I watched the old one, I was like, fuck, I can see this coming.
yeah.
Like this is going to happen. Like, look what's going on. Did you hear about what's going on today? Like, Russia is talking about moving troops to Cuba and perhaps Venezuela
I did not
just
know
to
that.
stand by.
Really?
Yeah, I just heard that on I have this app called Ground News, which gives you like news from like unbiased, like basically it gives you all of the news. Like say that news story, it gives it to you from left wing, center, right wing. It gives you like all of the different sources that covered it. And that was like a center, basically like there was no bias on that. It's like Russia is putting troops on the ground in Cuba and maybe in Venezuela,
That's interesting
which
because
is
I know
really scary.
I know they're putting troops in Kazakhstan. They put, I think, like 3,000 airborne troops in there. So I wonder if maybe the Kazakhstan thing they're seeing that as a really good distraction to put troops in, our back door or our backyard.
But yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Like if they're putting troops like close to where we are, it's like,
I wonder
I was
if
like,
Wagner Group is involved with that too. Are you familiar with Wagner Group?
Kind of, but remind me.
Yeah, it's basically their version of Blackwater, except they are way more fast and loose with how they operate, and I think they get
Way
paid
more
a little.
deadly.
Yeah, they're a little bit more well, and yeah, I guess because they don't have to follow rules like at all. There's no rules for those guys. There's actually, remember the whole Poland issue where all the migrants are coming in. You can actually see there's some video footage out there. I've downloaded a couple clips, but you can see Wagner Group's like, I guess, special operators, whatever we want to call them, behind the scenes directing the migrants on where to go. It's crazy.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if Wagner Group is involved with the deployment of troops there.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Just like when I watched that, when I rewatched that Red Dawn, I was like, this seems like it's a lot closer. Like the first time I watched it when I was younger, I was like, oh, that's cute. That's a fantasy movie. And now I'm like, fuck, I need to get me that cabin.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's looking for their little cabin in the woods because I think even people that that aren't just completely self-absorbed into technology and all that shit. I think there's some people that realize like, yeah, something's going on. Something's not right with the world.
Yeah, I told you what happened when I was trying to buy that land, right? Let's share this with the chat. Like, I was looking to buy some like isolated land in an undisclosed location, just just to have for a retirement. So I went to this website that's like a land real estate website, and this was last year, and there were so many plots available, tons of them. Then I just kind of like let it go. I forgot about it. Then like 2 months ago, I went back to it, and most of the plots were sold.
Wow.
They were all gone. So I was like, crap, I'm grabbing one right now. I told my husband, like, I'm taking all our money and I'm buying this land.
Wow.
This is the last one left. Yeah.
And I've actually seen stuff where there's like companies out there like just hoarding land. I don't know if you've seen that. I don't know if maybe that was
like a lot of like Mark Zuckerberg and his people in all of these fucking tycoons, they're buying up large plots of land too, because let's talk about the Great Reset. I think we are at that point.
Yeah, go for
it. So, what do you know about the Great Reset?
So I am not an expert. I'm actually currently researching. I'm reading all the documents right now on the Great Reset. I think I posted a couple of them in some chats.
Have you read Agenda 2021, Agenda 2030?
Oh, yeah. I've got some basic knowledge on that. I can tell you right now that the things that they've outlined and they're
telling us what they're going to do.
Yeah, they're telling us what they're going to do. It's happening right now.
And that's what's crazy. Like they're basically telling us, and most people are so much in a trance that they're not even listening. They're like they don't care.
Yeah.
But if they are allowed to move forward with what they want to do, we're all gonna be in pods.
Yeah. They want pod people. They want pod people so they can put us
Yeah.
on small little plots of land, and so then we can all work and we can all pay taxes. You know, that's like the whole
Oh
thing
no,
with like
fuck! They won't even put us on land. They want us in like tiny apartments, and then
oh
we're gonna
yeah,
be
and they want to
driven
just stack those
to the
things like a
factory.
mile high. Yeah.
Have you heard anything about like how they're trying to change the laws on like suburban neighborhoods to allow like multifamily buildings?
Yes. So I think they're trying to move Section 8 housing into suburban
Yeah.
areas. Yeah, I think that's what you're
Hmm.
referring to. Yeah, that I don't know if it's passed. Um, but if that happens, ugh, that's not good. And the thing is like a lot
Not
of
good.
lefties don't realize that that's going to affect them too. It's going to affect
Oh,
everyone.
it's going to affect everyone. Basically, they're just eliminating the ability for families to have like a single family home
They
and
hate
at
that.
least like, oh yeah, they hate nuclear family.
Yeah.
So they're trying to just basically put us all in like giant fucking like Judge Dredd type buildings.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny when you said that. I was just thinking Judge Dredd, and I don't watch movies, so that's kind of funny that I caught that. I actually have a question here from Red Dawn Radio, and he says, right now, a large section of Americans are oblivious to what is going on. Was that the same case in Venezuela, and at what point did they realize what was going on?
Yes, it was the same, and I don't think they ever did Red Dawn Radio. I think they just got like blasted, and I think they're like they still don't know what the fuck is going on.
Mm.
Because one thing that Chavez did, he he did a lot of like rallies where he would like come out and at least in the beginning he would have this like huge like rallies where he would give out a lot of free food and free drinks to people.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't
The
think those people
handout.
never, yeah, hand out, just like hand to mouth type thing, like one meal. So I
Yeah.
don't think the people never like they never had a chance.
It's I guess the
And I'm afraid,
Yuri Bezmenov prophecy came true. Are you familiar with that?
uh,
It's
I
where he
know
says
it, but I don't.
it's where he says like people don't understand communism until it and they'll believe in communism until a communist bullet shoots them in the balls or something like that. That's when they
Yes,
realize that they were
that's
wrong.
that's exactly right. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's exactly right.
Do you actually
Yeah,
know anybody in Venezuela still that you have family there
that
still?
still lives there.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, a couple of like extended family members that I don't actually personally know. What? No, like me and like all the people that I went to high school with, we all got the fuck out. Was super thankful to be able to get my parents out. And one of the reasons I was able to get my parents out was when I joined the military, that gave me a little bit of, that pushed my application for my parents to come here a little bit ahead, because I was giving my life to serve in the military.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I honestly, right now, I don't, all my friends and the people that I knew, they all got the fuck out.
That's good.
It's
That's
it's
really good
terrible
to
over
hear.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very
Well, a lot of
interesting.
them went to Europe.
Okay. I wonder if
Some
they
of
think
them came
Europe is
here.
any better than Venezuela at this point, because Europe is full on communist now.
Yeah, I actually just recently talked to over the holidays to one of my best friends during high school, and he's in Amsterdam, and he said, yeah, like it's kind of terrible over there. They have a lot of mandates, lots of restrictions. So yeah, he said he would rather be here, but still because of regulations. I was like, dude, just go to the border, pretend you're a Mexican, you're already bound.
Yeah, honestly, he could probably get through if he goes that route. I have a
You get
friend who
free
lived.
college.
Yeah. I have a friend, she lives in Paris, and she's telling me like her dad owns a coffee, like a cafe shop with like bakeries and stuff like that. That's how they do it there, I guess. And I guess it's so bad, like the passport stuff, the mystery potion passport, it is getting just brutal right now. Like,
it's crazy, right?
He's like, or she's saying like the Gestapo police comes in there and they demand, and they'll just sit there and they'll drink coffee and watch people come in, and then they stop them, and then they still sit in the store and they just drink coffee like freaking vultures looking for people.
That's fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's like, so you're sitting here in my shop drinking my coffee and kicking people out of my... okay, got it.
So you're basically bringing Nazi back.
Yeah. Yeah, and people don't see the parallels between that. It's just like, get the hell out of here.
But a lot of people in Europe have been protesting against this. I've seen like some massive protests.
Yeah, there was a video that just came out. I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago, and you're right. I think it was actually in I think it was in Paris, or maybe it was in Nice. I can't remember. But they're people. They're in the streets.
They're all over. They're like eating on the streets, sharing their bread with other people. They just like they won't go for this.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's what needs to happen. Like, people need to just like go crazy and say like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Like, even my husband told me like, well, maybe if you have to for a better job, take the vaccine. And I was like, fuck
what?
No, I'm not gonna take it. Like, I don't care.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
man.
take this stupid job, like, no matter what.
No, that's
Like,
what they
I will
want
survive.
you to do. They want you to wage slave it out and just surrender your bloodstream, so then you'll just do whatever they want. Ooh.
Well, I'm not looking at the stream right now, so I don't know what you're posting, but I hope you're posting that pic that I sent you that says, fuck no, you can't jab my gun.
I can post that one for sure. No, there's people in the stream asking questions, and they're loving you right now. So you are the subject matter expert.
Love you all.
Yeah. So
I am just a survivor.
Yeah,
Send me more questions.
Yeah, if you guys have questions, definitely feel free to ask. So I know you mentioned your parents. So now they're in the United States. What do your parents think about everything happening right now?
Oh, well, so my parents are pretty old now, and they kind of felt like when it came to the vaccine, they felt for it. They felt for this whole like, oh, we gotta get the vaccine. But I think it's probably because they're older. Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I lost you for a second. Yeah, so my parents were very quick to jump on the vaccine bandwagon, which actually surprised me because I know very smart people. But I don't know what happened. They were in fact, for the first year of the Rona, we usually went to visit over Christmas, and then they were like, oh, you guys can't come because you're not vaccinated.
Really?
So they fell into the narrative, yeah, and I was just like, what the fuck, Mom? But yeah, they did.
Wow.
It's kind of like they got brainwashed a little bit.
So the cognitive dissonance has seeped in.
Yes, incredibly. It's crazy. I was like, Mom, what the fuck? We have all this great, high level, intellectual discussions, and then you're gonna fall prey to this? What is happening?
Yeah, I actually have I have some friends that same thing happened. It was one of my buddies and his girlfriend were going to go to the in-laws or future in-laws home for Christmas, and they're like, the only way you can come is if you're vaccinated and you wear a mask. It's like, what? Oh my God. Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's seeped in everywhere. It's actually, so this is a funny story. So I go to the gym normally around 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I always see more than half of the gym is wearing a face blankie. Well, today I went a little bit later.
They're working out.
Yeah, while working out. Yeah. Well, today I was
That's retarded.
yeah, exactly. I went to the gym today at like close to 5, so everyone's getting off work. And everyone in the gym at that time wasn't wearing a mask. And the whole time I'm sitting there and I'm on the Stairmaster, you know, get my steps in like a good girl. And I was thinking to myself, like, okay, so the people that think aren't wearing a mask because the people that are now in here are the ones getting off work. And the times that I normally go to the gym are the people that don't work. Got it.
Yes. Yeah, so okay. People have a job.
Well, it makes so much sense now. My mind was blown. I wrote it down in my little notebook, and I was like, "Oh yeah."
We should make a study about that.
Yeah, there should be. There should be for sure.
I'll go to the gym at random times and record who's wearing a mask.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's cool. Like the gym where I go to, even when this first started, they put a sign out that said, "This facility does not comply with any requirements to wear masks. We ask that if you wear a mask, if it makes you feel better, but we don't comply." And I was like,
awesome.
Yeah, that's my gym.
That's a based ass gym. Hell yeah. Yeah, my gym is not like that. Gym. My gym is it's a chain gym, unfortunately. The gym that I wanted to go to ended up closing because they had to. It was like an old bodybuilder gym where the plates are all rusty and everything, but they had to shut down because coof.
Oh, dude, those are the best kind.
Yeah, those are the best gyms.
They have no AC.
Yeah, I don't need that
when you're working out.
Yeah, I need to get in there, get my shit on, and then leave. But yeah, so
all I need is some fucking plates.
Yeah.
Lift some fucking weights and go.
Yeah, for sure. Red Dawn Radio, he asked, what was your MOS?
Oh, at first I was a parachute rigger when I started. And then I was a civil affairs specialist.
Okay.
So I was the first few years I was parachute rigger, and then I was civil affairs specialist.
Nice. MBB.
Red Dawn Radio was in the Army too, right?
Say again?
Red Dawn Radio was in the Army too, right?
He was. Red Dawn Radio was an infantryman. He had some special forces time, so he's a well-seasoned trooper for sure. So
hell yeah.
Yeah.
So
MBB.
Was he ever Go ahead.
No. Ask away.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask Red Dawn Radio, was he ever in Fort Bragg? Don't want to cross him or anything.
I don't know actually. I would assume he did training at Bragg. Bragg's pretty big.
Or big Benning.
Place. Oh, for sure. Yeah, he was infantry, so he definitely had a little fun at Benning. So MBB over on Odysee. Ask him what?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so MBB.
Red Dawn Radio, if he was airborne.
Well, if he was special forces, I would assume he was airborne. So, Red Dawn Radio, answer the lady's questions because she's the guest tonight, and the guest gets to speak. That's the rule. So MBB over on Odysee, he has a really good thing, and he's addressing it to me, but it's a really good point. And he says, Loyal 9, it is because the media spun it, referring to the mystery potion. He's saying the media spun it, saying smart people get vaxxed, just like how the emperor wears no clothes. And if people don't know the emperor wears no clothes, it's a story where there's an emperor walking out of his palace or something like that, and he has no clothes. And he doesn't realize he doesn't have clothes.
Nobody will call him out.
Exactly.
Nobody will call him out on it because everybody is just still following the narrative.
Yep, exactly. I think the story is like a kid says, "Why is he not wearing clothes?" And then it blows up everywhere, and then he realizes he doesn't have clothes. So yeah, that's a really good analogy, brother.
I love that story, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here.
Because
so
that story is
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that the emperor has no clothes story. It's always been kind of an analogy for hypocrisy, and that goes on a lot in government. Look at Nancy Pelosi. That bitch is crazy.
Yeah, she's absolutely crazy. She I just watched a video today by Mark Moss, and if anyone doesn't know who Mark Moss is, he does really good like financial videos. But he's always been kind of like a silent conservative. You know, you can see it, you know, and like he actually just did a video, I think today, where 35 politicians beat the S&P 500. Now, what that means is he compares it to, so 35 politicians beat the S&P 500, only 2 hedge funds, people that professionally invest, to beat the S&P 500. So 35 politicians are better investors than people who do it for a living. And Nancy Pelosi was number 6 on that list for being the best investor. Yeah.
Did you see what I just watched the shit today when they were asking her, somebody was asking her about like, oh, don't you think like people in Congress shouldn't have, you know, all this freedom to invest in stocks because, you know, you obviously are in a favorable position. And she was like, no, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Free market economy.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I've seen that. Because I mean, you know, it's funny because if you would have asked me a few years ago, well, maybe not a few, maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, should members of the House and the Senate and all that should they be allowed to invest? I would have said, well, yeah, I mean, why not? You know, it's their financial profile.
But don't they also get I'm sorry, I felt like I kind of interrupted you, but don't they also get paid, like even after they retire, they still get paid?
Yeah, they still get a retirement.
That's crazy.
They still get a healthcare package. And like, you know, Mark Moss covered it in his video
today.
Their kids
go to college for free.
Yeah. I mean, it's the benefits they get for being a public servant it's unreal.
Like I thought like these public servant jobs were something that like people should do out of duty. Like you shouldn't want them.
Yeah. Yeah. It blows my mind. I am so against the public servant now receiving benefits like at all. I don't
like that, right?
Because they're literally voting on packages that will increase their wealth profile. New Patriots actually sent me a link. Oh, this was months ago. I'm sure she could.
Patriots.
Yeah, I'm sure she could, you know, shoot it out to everyone if she digs. But there's a link where it shows all the politicians who have investment in like Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, all these companies, and it's a big list. It's a big list of people, and it's like, makes sense now. Ultimate red pill.
Like that's the sad thing. Is like these public servant jobs now, they attract people that are greedy and corrupt.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
guess what's gonna happen? Like if you have these jobs and you can control, you know, you have power over things. There's the lobbyists. You're gonna take their money.
Yeah.
And it's just like downhill spiral from there.
Yeah, for sure. You know, the thing that I always tell people is I don't think that we should prevent politicians from being able to invest. I think we should just hold them to the same fucking standard of insider trading laws.
Yeah, but sadly, they're not being held.
No, they're not.
Standards, you know?
They're not. And it's crazy because there's a website out there where it actually tracks every investment a politician makes. I don't know how they get that data, number one, but it shows the transaction data. And Nancy Pelosi, I think this year or last year, I can't remember the data icon, but she made $54 million worth of trades.
Oh my God, that's insane, dude.
That's insane. $54 million. Could you imagine what you could do with $54 million? And that's not even her net worth. Her net worth's like $160 million, which is unreal. Unreal to me. But Pastor Shadowley has a question, and he says, to our guest, if you take a communist for a helicopter ride, they fly for a day. If you throw a communist from a helicopter, they fly for the rest of their lives. Not really a question, but a really good statement. Oh, Pastor Shadowley.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Pastor Shadowley's
That's a pretty cool take on like, you know, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day.
Yeah, I like that. I like that for sure.
You teach the man to fish, he'll eat forever. I like it. Pastor Shadowley. Yeah, he's cool.
Pastor Shadowley is the man. I actually had someone try to buy me to not like Pastor Shadowley anymore, and I was like, no, dude, I'm not doing that. Fuck you. Pastor Chatterley's my bro. He's my bro. You can't do that. You can't buy me.
Yeah,
But
you can't buy Salty Army.
no. Fuck no, you can't do that. So anyways.
You know, that's
Oh, go ahead.
that's one thing I think like it's like different from like all the people that are like Salty Army. It's like I don't know, we're just like a different breed.
Yeah,
We
it's
stick together, we take care of each other. We don't really give a fuck about what the internet does to us. Like we're gonna keep going.
yeah, for sure. You know, it's I will never abandon my friends, and I will never be bought, and I will never stop screaming about communism because it's an issue.
No, I definitely won't.
Yeah, especially you. You know, it's funny because you said you want to, shout to the millennials and what's the new one? Gen Z or I don't know, Zoomers.
Well, like I am a Gen Z. You're probably a millennial. You're probably like my husband, like an elder millennium.
Yeah, that's
millennial, like born in the 80s, right?
Sure.
And then I don't want to dox you.
No, you're good.
And then like our kids are the Zoomers.
Okay.
I don't know why they're called that. I don't know if that's because they had to Zoom
I don't know.
or Generation Z. I guess that's
Generation Z.
Started.
Yeah. So like, you said you have to shout to all the Zoomers and the millennials. Honestly, I'm seeing a lot more anti-communism coming from millennials than any other group. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like
Really, that's great.
Yeah, it's great because I guess I'm considered an old millennial. I don't know. I'm probably right on that edge. But
It's called an elder millennial.
An
Like if
elder.
You're born like in the 80s. You're an elder millennial.
do you hear that, Pastor Chatterley?
Be
I'm
like-
an elder.
For the millennial.
Yeah. So, but
Be like, I told you not to lose your ways.
yeah. It's crazy. I find actually more people that are not up to speed on the communist threat are the boomers. If you don't, believe it or not, the boomers.
Yeah, like my parents.
Yeah.
Parents. Like they just don't care.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
I get people that like hate that I talk about the boomers a lot, and like, if you're a boomer and you're in this chat, this doesn't apply to you. It doesn't apply to you at all because you see the light, you see what's happening. But
if you're in this chat, you are here, and that obviously means that you got it.
yeah, they get
But
it.
like, it's like my parents. I don't know what happened to them. Like they were in the middle of this shit, right?
Mhm.
Like I said, like my dad was with the communists, and then he realized, like, oh wait, you guys are fucked up. Fought to go get his girl, and then what happened now? Now he's like harassing me to get the vaccine,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
and I'm like, come on, Dad, what the fuck happened to,
Yeah.
to who you were? It's like, I don't know. I'm going to like go on a wild limb here and say that there's gotta be. I'm gonna go Alex Jones. Be like, there's something in the water.
Yeah.
They're putting something in the water that's
Yeah.
making people lose their fucking mind.
It honestly, I think so. I know everyone talks about the mass formation, psychosis, and all that. That's definitely part of it. I just think that
Oh yeah.
people are way too comfortable and they're so absorbed with the pixel. I know people that are like super conservative and they're watching these lefty shows on Netflix, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
do you not realize you're being subverted and brainwashed right now? Well, I see it. You just look
Totally.
past it, and I'm like, oh, all right. Keep watching two men
Basically,
jab each other.
If you're watching anything Marvel, like any of the Marvel movies,
I can't. Honestly,
I can't do it.
I don't like. During one of the live streams that I was invited to, they were talking about like Marvel movies and stuff like that, or I don't know what the fuck they were talking about.
Fuck.
I had
The
no idea
Walking
what they were
Dead
even
went
talking
woke.
about. Yeah,
Like, The Walking Dead went woke. So many of the comic book shows went woke. Like my husband will start watching that shit, and I'll just be like, I see wokeness here. I'm gonna walk away.
yeah.
Sometimes I even make him turn it off. I'm like he was watching a show the other day. It was like some think it was one of the new Star Wars reboots or something. And some guy was like, "Oh, but it's so hard to be black and trans at the same time." And I was like, "Woke alert! Turn this
Yeah.
shit off."
Yeah. It's funny because Red on Radio, he's referring to my my little confusion moment that I had on a live stream where they were talking about like modern movies, and he says, no, you did not know what they were talking about, LOL. And it's not, and it's true, because anything that Hollywood produces now, it's got to be heavily vetted by people that I trust for me to even like touch it at this point. I actually watched like old 40s and 50s movies that I find on archive.org. that's what me and Mrs. Loyal 9, we're just, if we want to watch a movie, all right,
Yeah,
cool,
like,
we'll pull up something from the 40s.
dude, you know what's funny? Like, I looked at Netflix the other way, and I don't even have a Netflix account anymore because I'm like, fuck you, I'm not giving you any more money.
Mm-hmm.
But a friend of mine like gave me a free pass. You know how you can share your Netflix
Yeah, for sure.
account with people? Because there was a show he wanted me to watch Squid Game, which I
Okay.
actually thought was pretty cool. So, like, all the shows on there are so many of them are completely fucking woke. Like, you start watching it and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's all about like being trans and being gay and being black and
Yeah, I call it
inequality. And it's like,
the homo-fascism movement. I don't know if I coined that term, but
oh,
I've probably
I
heard it
love
from.
that.
I've probably heard it from somewhere. I'm not that smart, but it's that's exactly what's happening. They're just like constantly just trying to shove it down your throat, and inshallah, you say
What
you don't agree with it, they come at you with just pure love. It's crazy.
But it's like it has nothing to do with the story of the show.
Oh yeah, for sure. You ever seen that
So
show?
it makes you
What's it called? Helicopter Sean. You told me to watch it, and I watched it, and I was like, it's like the dude, Mr. Robot. Have you heard of that?
I think so.
Yeah. So it's like
I don't think I watched it.
yeah. I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't watch it. But like the second episode is like a dude having sex with another dude. I think it was like the first episode, and I was like, holy shit. And they just went straight for the jugular.
It's graphic too.
It was really graphic, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
I have another channel because I'm a ballet dancer, and I have a channel for adult ballet dancers, right? So I
Yeah.
reviewed this Netflix show that was about ballet. It was about a ballet high school, it's called The Pretty Little Things, I think.
Okay.
But it was about a high school that was for ballet dancers. And like in the third episode, there is like this guy straight up getting rammed in his ass. And it's all shown. I'm like, wait, what does this have to do with ballet? And why is this in a high school show?
It's so
Like, wait, no.
bad. Yeah, it's just straight
horrible.
subversion. It's so subversive, and like the thing is a lot of parents, and this is just what I've noticed. So, parents out there, don't attack me, but I've noticed that like people in my family that have kids, they just throw on Netflix or Amazon, and that's what does a lot of the parenting, I guess. I don't know, but a lot of the stuff that I see on there that like members of my family are watching, super subversive, and I'm like, whoa, hey,
Very.
you don't need to be watching this. This is for like 25-year-olds.
Yeah, like I honestly, like when I watched that show, I thought it was like a college type situation, and then I reviewed it, and one of my friends was like, "No, this is supposed to be a high school," and I was like, "Wait, what?"
Oh,
Like literally a guy getting like rammed in his ass. Like, why does any high school kid needs to see that?
they're trying to normalize homosexuality for younger kids. The what's his name? The guy. Oh fuck, he's I think he's from Thailand or whatever, but he's one of the key leaders on the UN Council, and he said we're trying to purposely brainwash kids. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, so don't sue me, but he's like, we're purposely trying to brainwash kids. Yeah, allegedly. Well, there's a quote out there. I can find it. But where they're trying to brainwash kids when they're young to turn them gay. He openly says this. It blew my mind.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Salty Vader, thank you for the donation, brother. He says, we stand with you, Loyal 9, and fuck commies, That's what I'm talking about. That's the energy. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck commies.
I'm all about that fuck commies energy.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
What I live for.
Yeah, and that's something I think we need to start doing more, is start branding. You know how the left, they brand us as Nazis, even though they're actually the Nazis. They don't even understand what nationalist socialism, it's in the name. But I think we need to just start branding these motherfuckers as communists. That's why I say in the videos, the communist left. I don't know. It's just one of those things.
See, the problem is, like, a lot of people see now that communism is good.
Mm-hmm. I actually just watched a video of a professor. I think I shared it in one of my live streams, where there's a professor saying that Stalin never committed a single crime and never murdered anyone. And he's a college professor.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. Has books written about it. I think one of his books is called Khrushchev Lied, or Gorbachev Lied. I can't remember which dictator he was talking about, but openly says that nobody was murdered by Stalin. Whoa.
Oh, well.
I mean, you're a university professor, aren't you? Or you were?
Yes, was.
Yeah, was. Well, what happened with that?
Denied. Oh, yeah. So this is something I wanted to bring up. So I guess this is the right time. So I had a very successful class at the university that I was teaching, and I had my class was always full. Most students gave the class great reviews, and then I had to do this online training about diversity. And there was this question where they were like, "What are your pronouns?" And I was like, "I don't understand this question." Because, like, what the fuck? What do you mean, what are my pronouns?
Yeah.
Like, I'm obviously a woman, so... And
well,
then
they want you to partake in their insanity.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm not doing it. I pulled a Jordan Peterson, and I was like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Guess what? I didn't get a contract for the next semester.
Imagine that. How were your students? Did you have a lot of commie students in there, or?
Well, no, for the most part, students, like, most of the students love my class. But the only problem that I had was some students, and this was in the notes, if you look at it, some, like, I in my syllabus, I had, like, okay, I will grade you according to your creativity, your proficiency, and, overall how you improve during this class.
Mm-hmm.
And then some students did shitty work, and then they would get like a B or a C, and they were like, "Oh, but I worked really hard." Like, well, it doesn't show in your work, so you're not going to get an A. Yeah. And then they were like, "But my scholarship depends on this." It's like, well, too bad. You should have worked harder.
Yeah. There is no substitute for victory.
Yeah. So some students just kind of had this idea that just because they thought they work hard, that should give them a good grade. And I was always like, I'm not going to give you a good grade if you're not exceptional. Like, I'm going to give you an A if you go above and beyond.
Yeah, if you meet the standard.
If you meet the standards, I'll give you a B.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a good class.
If you exceed the standards, I'm going to give you an A. That sounds fair, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think when I was in school, it was always like that. Like, the minimum was...
Yeah, that's how it always was.
Minimum effort was always like a C. And then, a little bit more was a B. And then way above was an A.
Yeah, like, A is if you exceed the standards. Like, I place... in the syllabus, I place, like, what the minimum I expect of you, and here's what you can do to get a little bit more, and here's what you can do to do a lot more and get an A.
Yeah.
So then students would be getting, like, a C or a B, and they would be like, but I did everything you asked for. I'd be like, yeah, to get a B or a C.
Yeah.
But you didn't do enough to get an A.
So the school that you taught at, did you see a lot of, like, Marxism happening there, or besides like the pronoun thing? Because I mean that's Marxism, obviously, but
Yeah, I saw a little bit. Like, I was also part of a fellowship in that school that
okay,
was all about like the whole idea of the fellowship was to incite and like make students think creatively, to actually have like critical thinking.
yeah, for sure.
And I did a great project for that. And long story short, basically, like the project was about this was during COVID, like the onset of COVID.
Hmm.
It was teaching the students how to use the resources they had available on campus and beyond campus to stay in shape
Okay,
and to basically like keep keep or improve their physical shape. And the project was very good. It worked. Like students definitely reach more resources than they would have if they didn't do the project.
okay.
And the results were very good. But yeah, for some reason, I still didn't get my contract back,
Well, that
which is really
sounds.
weird.
It sounds probably like I know you told me before. So anyone that doesn't know, me and her have talked about this specific story before. But it sounds like they found maybe like your social media, like your Facebook or something like that. And then the fact that you refused the pronoun thing, they were like, oh no, we have a
Yeah,
conservative
like
here.
I reached out to
Woo.
my supervisor and I was like, hey, am I getting a class this next semester? And oh, the excuse that he gave me, he was like, oh, we have a lot of cutbacks, funding,
Hmm.
whatever.
And that's just total bullshit. Because I mean, you've worked in the university systems. They make so much money. It should be illegal how much they're stealing from the taxpayer and how much they're stealing from students. So the funding thing is just total bullshit.
Oh yeah. And like all this money that universities gets allowed, like I don't remember exactly the word for it. It's like it's not trust funds, but what is that word? Like when universities get money for,
You talking about grants?
yeah, like
Yeah.
all that money, they can use it for investments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yale actually. One of my deep dives I did on the scholastic institutions was Yale. Yale gets like millions of dollars from the federal government, so from the taxpayer every year, and they use like they use this money to build within their school, and restaurants that are actually around Yale can't compete with Yale because the restaurants inside of Yale are so good and they're cheaper because they're being subsidized by the taxpayer. And so people go onto Yale's campus to just eat. But it's all being subsidized by the taxpayer. It's like, what the fuck? And they're just stealing, millions and millions of dollars, not just from the taxpayer, but from the students. I mean, you look at the average cost, I think, for a semester for an out-of-state student at Yale is like $90,000 or very close to it for a semester. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they use all this money and like it gets allocated to wherever they want for the university, like not for the students.
Yeah. It's
so basically they can take all this money and put it wherever they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's unreal. It's unreal. So I mean, you know the university system, and it's crazy. I actually do have a question by fuck brother, I forgot your name. I copied and pasted your question in my Word doc, and I didn't put your name in there. But it says when hyperinflation hit Venezuela and the job numbers went non-existent, what do you think the percentage of people on the ground was there, or that were there, roll over or fight back? Did the numbers tank because there was no work available, or the government only allowed certain people to work? So I guess the first one is, what do you think the percentage of people on the ground was there that rolled over or fought back?
A lot of them rolled over.
Really?
Because they didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, in Venezuela, like, I met a lot of Venezuelans. Whoever could get out or get their family out, they did.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
in fact, like, that was one of the like when I decided to join the military, one of the main reasons, like besides, yes, I did want to join the military, but I kind of did it hastily because I was like, this will help me get my parents out. Because,
Mm-hmm.
if you join the military, you get like any relatives that you have outside of the country get a little bit of priority to be able to come to join you in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I gotta get my parents out
That makes sense.
because it's getting really bad there.
This is an odd
And
question, but we can move on to the second part of the question. But I actually have a question for you. Do your parents vote?
yeah, yeah, they did. They voted for Trump.
Okay. Whew. I was about to say, you brought in two liberals.
No, no, no. They did. They were like, we're so for Trump.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
good.
no, no, let me bring that back. When they first came in, they were like Hillary. And I was like,
Oh,
okay, let you live here for a couple of months and see. And then no, in the election, when Trump won, they voted for Trump.
that's good. That's good. Because I know a lot of immigrants that unfortunately they tend to lean a little left, and it bothers the shit out of me.
Mostly that's mostly the illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
Most of the legal immigrants, most of the legal immigrants are conservative.
That is very true. Actually, there's I think it was MAGA War Drums. He sent me a video of this immigrant guy, and he's like, this guy's super conservative, and he's like, we just need to bring back constitutional carry. I don't understand how you guys don't understand shall not be infringed. How that doesn't compute. And I was like, yeah, this is exactly what we need.
Because that's why they come. They want to come to a country where, liberty is the rule.
Yeah, that's what they want. The bells of liberty is, and I didn't come up with this, but the bells of liberty are ringing, and sometimes it's heard from afar, and it will be a sad day when the bell of liberty stops ringing because it's happening.
We will never stop ringing, man. We will not let that happen.
Yeah.
We'll make that bell ring, even if we have to jump on it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that thing better not stop ringing. The second part of the question, I think it was MBB who asked this question. I can't remember. But he said, did the numbers tank because there was no work available, or the government only allowed certain people to work? So I think he's meaning, did like the jobs tank? That's what I'm understanding from that question.
Well, like in the case of my parents, they brought their work with them. They had a few international clients.
Okay.
So they were always able to keep their job going.
Yeah.
And like they had like a good infrastructure set up for the work that they do. So they always had some work, but they definitely have suffered. Like at some points they had less work than they were used to.
Yeah. That's crazy. This whole idea that, you look at like Bernie Sanders and AOC, all the people that have been praising communism and socialism. It's very ironic that they used to use Venezuela as the example, and then now Venezuela is completely collapsed, and they still don't get it, and they're so arrogant. They say,
I don't even know how they ever used Venezuela was an example, because Venezuela went from being one of the richest countries in South America. Like, dude, I remember when I was little, we were able to just like get on a plane, and we were just not rich, middle class, very middle class. My parents and I were able to, get plane tickets and go for a weekend to Miami just to go shopping,
God.
and come back. Like, it was a very normal thing that a lot of Venezuelans do because, in America, there was always like a lot more cool stuff to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And our money was worth the same as the dollar was. So we did that. We were like, fuck it, let's go shopping in Miami for the weekend. And then all of a sudden, it was like, no, all that was done.
Gosh. Yeah, and it just the corruption took place, like what it happens with every communist, socialist. I mean, socialism and communism is the same thing. It's just the road to communism is paved with socialism, but it happens with every country.
The problem in Venezuela, it was like we were a little bit too good. We were a little bit too rich as the middle class, that we didn't see it coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
But when it happened, like, a lot of people got fucked real bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was real bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's still bad there right now.
Oh yeah, well, whoever's left there now, it's like,
yeah, they're.
Well, when everybody started leaving in the early 2000s, like, I don't know if I told you, but I spent like a long time doing in the fitness industry. I was a fitness trainer.
Oh wow.
And one of my clients in the early 2000s was a Venezuelan lady that her family owned like one of the largest textile companies there. And she told me, she was like, yeah, we lost everything. People with guns came to my dad's company and they were like, this belongs to the government now.
Yep, that sounds about right.
So
they
basically.
I was reading this story about these guys in Czechoslovakia during the communist takeover there, and they had this rule, and I find this rule actually very interesting for modern times, and you'll understand here in a second. If you in Czechoslovakia, and this was in like the late 40s, they had the communist government came in there, Soviet Union said, if you have 50 or more employees, your business is automatically part of the state. But if you have less than 50 employees, you have the option to allow the state to handle your business. And long story short, every business that was less than 50 employees became part of the state, and they used the legal system to do it. And I find it really interesting how the times we're living in right now with the mandate for the mystery potion, 100 plus employees.
Yep.
It's just one step closer.
With this mandate.
Yeah, one step closer.
Yeah, people get scared, and people are just like, I just want to live.
Yeah. Ronald Reagan has a really good quote, and I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it's like basically, do you want peace or do you want to be left in peace? The quickest way to be left in peace is to surrender, because that's the easiest way for peace. And I was like, shit. Great quote.
I have a really good quote.
Send it.
Disobedience to tyrants is obedience to God.
Oh yeah. That's it's I can't remember who said that, but it's like I actually had that in one of my videos. It's like resistance to tyrants. Yeah, that's a great quote. I think it was Thomas Jefferson. It was a founder. Sure. It was a founder for sure. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, I have so many quotes in my head.
It's like, that's the one quote that keeps me going.
Yeah, because I mean, anyone that doesn't believe God is part of this. I mean, it's
what's that?
I think God is part of this. I mean, I think he's blessed this channel. He's blessed Red Dawn Radio for sure. This is God is trying to fuel the resistance to tyranny. It just takes based patriots to wake the hell up, take more action. Because here's the thing with like, if you have a means to resist and you're not resisting, you're part of the problem. I always say that. I say that to a lot of the.
Like if you stay quiet and if you just say like, oh, I shouldn't make a big deal out of this, I should just like stay quiet. Mm-hmm. You're part of the problem.
Yeah, for sure. You are definitely part of the problem. But luckily we have the Salty Army, the Red Dawn Radio community, the Loyal Patriots, like it's a very aggressive community. I will say that. It is a very aggressive community and I love it.
And I love it because like that's what makes us different from like the rest of like YouTube or Twitch or any of those other things.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Salty Army people, we fucking go for it.
Yeah, I have pictures. So you know those little stickers? I think you bought some actually.
Yeah, I bought a shit ton of stickers.
Yeah,
and I
you
placed
did.
them all over the place.
That's exactly what, like the point. Like I had like New Patriots, Neo Martyrdom. They're buying those stickers and they're putting them like on in bathroom stalls. They're putting them all over places where there's empty shelves. Like that's an aggressive force right there. That's aggressive. Like they just
It's guerrilla warfare.
yeah,
Let's do
guerrilla
it.
warfare. You know.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make some too. I'm gonna
Yeah.
send you some stickers when I make them.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be awesome. Don't send them to me. I'll buy them from you. But yeah, it's
Okay.
yeah. I get it. I know how much they cost to make. You know, but yeah, it's just
Cool.
our movement is just it's incredible, and we're starting to think outside the box more. And I think it needs
But
to.
that's what we gotta do. Like, I think we're reaching people. Like, you got some hits when people bought your stickers, right?
Yeah, I mean for sure. Like
But
I have a QR code scanner on those stickers, and I think I didn't know this actually, but those QR codes are trackable. To it tells you where it was scanned, the city. It doesn't give you like the exact location, but it tells you the city where it was scanned, and honestly, weirdly enough, the type of phone used. But so I use that data where the stickers are being scanned, and then like for example, like New Patriots she bought a bunch of stickers, and so I could tell when she placed those things out there because the QR data was popping up everywhere. Like X location is getting a lot of scans, and I'm like, oh shit. And then I start seeing a little bit of a bump with numbers on YouTube, and I'm like, is there a correlation here? But yeah, so
I'm fixing to put a bunch out more tomorrow.
yeah, it's a good little tactic. It's just a step. You know, there's some people that have a little bit more aggressive techniques, but I think information warfare, like what we're engaging in right now, is it's critical.
Are you familiar with like what Alex Jones is trying to do?
In what aspect? I am very familiar with him.
He is offering like $5,000 to anybody that finds anybody that's like media broadcasting, and anybody that jumps in front of the camera and says like, "Oh, fuck you, the vaccines are killing people."
Yeah, that's cool.
Alex Jones was right.
That's another way to engage.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, I think you got to be careful doing some stuff like that because you don't want to come off like the Alex Jones. I love him. He's my boy. But whenever he gets on the microphone and starts yelling, that's for us. That's not for a normie or a comatose conservative. They're gonna see that, and it's not appealing. So, I mean, you were in the military, so you obviously know how to talk to people. I mean, do you have any advice for people?
I feel my boy Alex.
Yeah. Do you have any advice?
He's tired.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you say that because so I've always known a lot about communism, but whenever I started getting geeked up more with it, like with Loyal 9, I started getting more and more angry because I'm like, I get it now. I get why Alex Jones is freaking out. Totally understand.
Yeah, I get it too.
Yeah, I get it.
Dude, like, works 7 days a week.
Yeah, he never stops. Which I can relate. I mean, you can ask Mrs. Loyal 9 in the chat right now, everyone. I don't take breaks. You can ask her, and she's probably like... You
can ask my husband. He's probably pissed off at me right now. He's like, why are you doing this live stream?
Tell him to listen to it. Maybe he'll enjoy it. I don't know. You know,
he will come join us eventually. He does. He always fully supports me, but sometimes he's like, oh my god, woman, why are you such a...
You're spazzing out.
Yes.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, it's easy to do, and that's like one thing that, you know, Red Dawn Radio, myself, Salty Cracker, American Citizen, you know,
we are Legion.
It's the things we create are a really good outlet for people. But one thing I think that I try to focus on more, and especially Red Dawn Radio, I know he's focusing on this too, is a lot of the education factor. So a lot of people on our side, and it's not their fault, but a lot of people on our side don't understand the full threat, but they understand that there's a threat, which is great. That's a great start. But understanding the full scope of the threat.
How bad it is.
Yeah, because once when you start understanding the full scope, you realize,
That's when you understand, like, fuck, I have to broadcast
Yeah.
as much as I can, 24 hours if I can. Like, dude, if I could like broadcast shit 24 hours a day, I would.
Yeah. It'd be awesome.
Because that's what we need. We need like people on air spreading the message.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you never know when somebody is going to jump on and catch us.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Like somebody might jump onto this stream right now and be like, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
Yeah. Well, we had one on Twitch, but he was calling us crazy conspiracy theorists, and that's why I called him a faggot, because I'm just like, all right, whatever. You're dead to me. And that's like one thing that I think a lot of us need to understand is like radical lefties or lefties. I'm probably preaching to the choir at this point. I am not going to put any effort, zero effort in trying to red pill someone like that. Fuck those people. They're the problem. They are like the exact problem. But like the normie, even like a minor lefty, they're savable. But the comatose conservative, the sleepy conservative, those guys need to be woken up a little bit more too, because people are weapons. Really, they're a voice. They're a voice box. Yeah, we're all weapons. And so like if you educate or at least show the problem of what's been happening in this country to the sleepy conservative, the comatose conservative, you already have them on our side. Now if you can educate them and get them to turn their capabilities into a weapon, shit, that's another powerful weapon. And then they can start, just spreading the message. It's like a freaking disease at that point, but at least it's a positive disease, right?
It's a good disease.
Yeah. But it just spreads like that.
That's something that bothers me. Is like the people that don't understand, like, how can we reach these kids?
Yeah.
It's like, that South Park episode.
Cartman.
How can we reach these kids?
How can I reach these kids? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's true.
To reach them.
Yeah, and I always say find what motivates people. Always. If you can find what motivates people, that's a really good indication on what makes them tick. I know a guy, he's motivated by his healthcare plan that he has. He's motivated by his retirement plan and his stocks. So I'm like, okay, this dude is relatively selfish, which that's okay. I get it. But the only thing he cares about is money. So then I'm like, okay, I can weaponize that. I know exactly how his savings is going to be affected. And I'm just like, hey, inflation just went up 7%. You know what that means to your savings? That's a 7% tax on your savings, because now your savings is worth 7% less. And then it's like, woo. And then you start seeing the wheels turning in their head. And it's like, yeah, bitch, I got you.
So they all just have to see it.
Yeah, they need to see the effect. I always say nobody gives a shit about communism until it affects them.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
So I'm like the spokeschild for communism. Don't do it.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. It's so bad. It's the fact that it's the only ideology that is responsible for 140 million deaths, and yet it's still supported, is mind-boggling at this point. But
exactly.
Yeah. But
that's why I'm here. Like, I'm here to tell everyone, like, don't fucking fall for it.
Yeah. For sure. It's just so easy to trick people.
Because once they're done with you, they'll kill you too. That's basically how it works.
For sure. There's a story of when the Russian Revolution was happening. If you had clean fingernails, they would line you up on a wall and shoot you. And some of those people they were shooting, they were communists. They believed in the communist ideology, but because they had clean fingernails, they shot them because they weren't working class. It's like,
They were just gonna shoot people no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. It's always a bloodbath with communism. Well, anyways, do you have any final? I guess are you running low on time?
Oh no, I'm fine.
Okay, all right. Well,
but we've been going for a long time.
Yeah, we can do this again too. I think we need to have you on again.
Did the people like this?
I think the people loved this. I've received multiple text messages about how this was great.
I wish I was able to like follow the chat more closely, but I have to get better at, you know,
The technology piece.
internet.
It's a
But
struggle.
yeah,
I get it.
we can definitely do this again. But yeah, closing words. Should I do some closing words?
I think you would be the person for closing words for sure.
So okay, let me see what I have. So basically, people, I am here. I came from Russia. I went through Venezuela, and now I'm in America. And I'm super happy that I'm in America. And America is the greatest thing that ever happened to me and to my family. And I want to say that. So whoever is with me, let's do that. Let's save America.
For sure.
We can do it.
Have you? I'm gonna play a clip here. Actually, you reminded me of something. Have you seen? So I don't like Tim Pool. I think he's a douche. But he did have this Chinese lady on his stream, and she's an immigrant, and very similar story to you. I don't know if you're
He
able
does
to.
good things sometimes.
Yeah, he does do some good stuff, but I think Tim Pool's always the dumbest one in the room. But there's a video I'm gonna play, and it's 45 seconds. And whenever the video's done, I'll tell you about it because I'm not sure if you can hear it. But everyone, listen to this video because this is a really good quote from someone who's an immigrant and knows America and sees America the way it should be seen. So I'll play it right here.
All those immigrants come from all over the world. Think America is an exceptional country. The only country you can come to achieve American dream. I get emotional when I think about that. Like, American dream. Where can you achieve American dream? And I was just so touched by watching them. Oh my God, it's like we defend America. America is not systemic racist country. Otherwise, why would we all want to come? Sorry about that.
So it's basically a video, and I'll say this for you, Relevant Elevant, but it's basically a video of a Chinese lady who is saying America's not systemically racist.
Couldn't see it.
It's America's not a country that is it's not racist. Where else can you achieve the American dream? America, and it's a powerful clip. I can send it to you after this.
We get done.
Yeah,
definitely watch it.
Well, anyways, you have a YouTube channel. You wanna plug that real quick?
Yes, my YouTube channel is Relevant and Elevant, and on my YouTube channel, I rant a lot about things that are very, very relevant and disturbing. And then I like to plug something that's very nice. Sometimes it's an experience that I have, and sometimes it's just like things that happen in the world, that are nice. But I also like to end on a positive note. That was like my whole idea of YouTube channel. I talk about the things that are bad, but I end on a positive note.
Yeah. Well, I put I pasted your link in the chat boxes, and then it's also in the description. So anyone that wants to find her, go check her out. She has a new video actually out on Notre Dame and what they did to Notre Dame. So check that out. I won't tell you about it. It's a good video.
How do you feel about that? Do you like the Notre Dame video?
I'm not at all surprised, to be honest with you. Not at all surprised what they're doing to Notre Dame. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So I'll go ahead and end the stream here, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Relevant Elevant, for coming on. I hope people go to your channel, they check you out. And
thank you for having me.
Absolutely, your story's incredible, and I'm sure Red Dawn Radio would love to have you on his channel. I definitely want to have you back. So I think this is great. So if you
we'll definitely link up again.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here, guys. Thank you so much for joining. If you guys have any questions, comments, concern, you can reach me on Gab, you can reach me on Odysee, Discord. I'm there. May not respond immediately, but most of the time I do. So thank you guys. Have a really great night. And I'll see you guys Friday on the tag team stream with Red Dawn Radio. So Loyal 9 out. Can you hear me? All right. Can you? Disconnect.
Turn into a scream.